Uh-oh. Now what do you do? Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Working on another customer's mower. This Husqvarna. It's got old gas in it, hasn't run in a while. Took several pulls to get it started, and it was really running bad. Blue smoke like crazy out of the muffler. It may have been tilted on its side at some point, but eventually it cleared itself out and was running better. Okay, so I figured I'd shut it off and let go of the bail handle, and the engine wouldn't shut off. It started laboring because the brake that stops the flywheel was actually touching the flywheel, so it started to, labor, but it wouldn't shut off. So I pulled the air cleaner cover off, pulled the top cover off, and all I did was I just grabbed a hold of the linkage here and put the choke on. Choked it to death. But that in itself is an issue. That should move very freely. It's not supposed to get stuck like that. I see some damage here. There's been an impact on the front of the housing here. That could be an issue. It could be warping this top cover enough to drag on something, but we'll pull that off and investigate. But move this back and forth a bunch of times. Before we do that, once we flip the cover off, we'll see a witness mark where it has been touching. So we'll see like a wear mark. We'll see a clean, shiny spot or something where it's been rubbing. So, yeah, it's a general look over on this one. Sharpen and balance blade, change the oil, tune up, whatever it needs. It has been sitting for a while. It's a Husqvarna 21-inch, 3-in-1. It's got the side discharge chute in it. If you take that chute out, if you take it out and drop this, then it'll mulch. Or it's got the option here for the rear bagger. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. That's our kill wire right here. So when you release the cable, it's supposed to move back in here far enough to ground that wire and kill the coil. So it might be in here. We'll check it out. We get this top cover off. We got to see what's going on with that linkage anyway. So. Yeah, it's warmed up, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the oil out of it now that it's nice and warm. And that will be our starting point. Air filter's dirty, but it's not oil soaked or gas soaked. It's not bad, so we'll just blow it out, put it back in. Let me get you in a stand, get some tools gathered, and we'll jump in. So I poke my head underneath the mower, and there's no drain plug in it. It's a non-drain plug model. So in that case, you pull the dipstick tube out and you tilt the whole mower up on its side and let it pour out of the dipstick tube. So, just in the last stages of refilling it here with straight 30. Right at the full mark. Perfect. Now we know it's got clean, fresh oil on it. There's no gas and there's no junk in it. I think what I'll do, I've already pulled the plug out. It's worn. It's not terrible, but it is dirty and worn. I'll put a new plug in there. I think next step is I want to take this cover off because I want to see why that auto choke linkage is binding. That is your choke linkage. I want to see why it's sticky, where it's rubbing, and we'll get you in for a view there. Too close. Too close. Whoa, jeez. What are you doing? Okay. 1, 2, well, I guess we gotta get the gas tank off first. A few 8mm in there. It's got a fuel line on it. We should be able to deal with that. I think there's one more. Yep, 3/8 down the back here. 3/8 or 10 mil, I'm not sure. I don't remember. Three-eighths. I'm not sure how old this gas is, but we'll deal with it. It's got a little disc style fuel filter. It's just a screen. It's a strainer. It's not like a paper filter. Yes, the strainer over time can get plugged up, but it takes a very long time to plug a strainer up. Where paper element filter will definitely plug up a lot sooner. I'll take the bolt out of our dipstick tube. That's also a shouldered bolt, same as the last one I took out on the back of the tank here. Maybe should have waited to put oil in it before I did this. Oh, we're safe. Sometimes if you pop the dipstick tube out, the oil just flies out. The oil should not be higher than the bottom of the dipstick tube. It's over full if that's the case. But sometimes it happens. 3/8 here. One screw in the back. On this side, one screw on that side, two in the front. Ooh, that one's warm. It's right out of the cylinder head. Ooh, toasty. Okay, so there's a witness mark I was telling you. I'm going to try and get you an angle here. It's hard to see with the glare. It's hard to see. Oh, there it is. This little clean, shiny scrape here, that is where the top of this arm is rubbing. There's actually rust there. I'm seeing it. So the top of this is bent in and is likely because of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a hammer and I'm going to whack it that way. Then we'll bolt it back down and see what it looks like. But let's see. There's the thermostat. The thermostat is behind the muffler for the choke. The muffler heats up the thermostat. The thermostat opens the choke. But it does move nice and free. It's important to check that. Sometimes they do get a little rusty on their pivots. This one seems to be nice and free. Now it wouldn't stop for me, so let's check our kill wire. The kill wire is on the coil. But why is it not dying? Why is it not killing the spark? That's why. This little piece was bent. It was twisted out of the way so it could not ground when we released the cable. Well, the kill wire for the coil is connected to this little spring-loaded tab, and it wasn't touching the throttle linkage. Also looks like the throttle linkage is bent. Kill wire is broken off. It's a little short too. Kill wire is supposed to go through here. It's short. I don't know what happened to that. Something happened. We're just gonna try and poke that around so it just gives me a little bit. 1/4 inch is all I need. A little bit more length. And we'll just hook it into this spring clip here. Good and secure. We can check it. We can test it with a meter. We can ohm it out to see if it is actually grounded or not. I think we'll do that. I was telling you about the flywheel brake. That's this shoe right here. Let's see if you're seeing what I'm seeing. Just get a little bit of detail. We're close up on that. Okay, this is the kill wire. It clips under this little tab here. So when you pull the cable, two things. The first thing that happens is it releases the brake off the flywheel. This brake stops the blades. When you want to stop the mower, it stops the blade from spinning. So first thing that happens usually is the brake releases. Second thing is there's an arm underneath here you can't see on that angle, but it pulls away from that kill wire, so it lets it spark. When you release the valve handle, it kills the spark and the brake stops the blade. So we've got just a little bit of an issue here where it's not quite doing what it's supposed to do. could be bent. Something could be bent on it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to check continuity with a meter between this arm and this wire. So when I let this go, there should be zero resistance or a closed circuit. And when you open it, it should go infinite. But we'll get there with a meter. We already know that the cover's what got mangled here. I'm just going to smack that cover up a little bit, get clearance that, so it should be able to move easy, just like that. Alright. I'll grab my meter. Back you guys out, grab my meter. I'm going to ohm that out. I'm going to set my meter on ohms, 200 ohms, doesn't really matter, we're just checking either it's open or it isn't. You see it? Yeah, it's reading 1, that's infinite resistance. When you have continuity, it should read 0 or close to it. Perfect. So right now I'm going to measure between the kill wire and the arm that's supposed to kill it. It's got continuity, which is good. That tells me that it will actually shut off now. So to further up the diagnosis, I've got the two. I can't see the meter now, so you guys watch me and let me know. But I'm going to pull the handle, and it should go. Oh, that's right. It is going to backfeed because it's on something. It's on the same bracket. But anyways, it did change, so that tells me that it's doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah, see, it's got resistance, some resistance. When you release it, it's got basically no resistance. That's 2 ohms. So that should do it. That should fix that problem. But it's just barely touching, and I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that it's going to be reliable. It's definitely got to move a little further. Definitely got to go a little further because it has bent. Somebody jammed something there. That can happen when you get it rammed underneath a porch step or anything like that. Cable down. I'm just going to bend this tab down a little bit so it makes a better contact. That's definitely better. Brake still works. Definitely better contact. Okay. Maybe they got that problem fixed. You can't see it, but I can. I need to see it. Yep, goes from a high resistance to no resistance when I pull the handle and release it. So it's doing what it needs to do. Perfect. Because it wasn't doing that before. So next up, we'll gently modify that cover. And I'm just going to set it back on there, and I'll put the bolts back in and see what comes of that. Just putting a small dent in there upwards to see if it'll clearance that. So the not shutting off issue was that the tab wasn't aligned properly. I can't really test it without bolts in it. Let's get those 4 bolts in there and see how it operates. See how this lever moves. Didn't whack it too hard, just a few little taps. Come on, get in your home. That bolt has been previously mangled. The hole isn't quite smooth. Get our bolts all in there and tightened up, because that's the way the mower actually operates. You gotta test it. If you're gonna test something, you have to test it exactly the way the customer is going to be using it. And then right, like short bolts went in the back. I don't pay attention, you know that. We'll change them. That's the way the customer's going to operate this machine. Let's see. Still dragging. That sucks. I can actually feel it. I'm just going to bump that a little more. We'll take it back off and just bump it a little more until it works. And you don't need to see me take this off 3 or 4 times. So when it's fixed, I'll turn the camera back on. There we go. Nice and free now. Perfect. Okay, so I already got a new spark plug in there. New plug gapped. Put it in there. I'm going to pull this outside cover off and we're going to drop the bowl. Make sure there's no junk hanging around the bottom of that thing. 2 screws. Crank vent tube sticking in the back. Here. Gives us some clearance to get underneath there. Stick our dirty old shop rag under there, just to catch any stuff that falls out. Size we got 1/2 inch. It wasn't a rhetorical question. I'm asking, what size is it? You're right, 1/2 inch. Oh, good guess. Let's see if the fuel level is low enough that this will actually stop. I do have the tank tipped, so yeah, good enough. Well, there's a plastic shield cover that goes on top of that, and it was there, but missing all the screws. So I'll see if I have some screws, but I really don't know if I do. The 2 inlet holes are clear. It was running okay. I just wanted to make sure there's no crap in the bowl. Nope, nice and clean. Not a single little piece of anything in there. Perfectly clean in there. The float is floating and the needle is working. I'm going to stick a piece of, just a little guitar string down in that top. The main jet itself is the middle one. Just make sure it's clear. Perfect. Back on she goes. That was actually nice and clean. Oh yeah. Now you're gonna fight me, eh? Yes, now it's gonna fight me. Get the gasket back in there first, maybe. Come on now, I don't want to take the carburetor off. Today has been this weekend has been a very busy weekend with mowers. Customers and repairs. Customers dropping stuff off, bringing things in, picking up one mower and dropping off this one. And he said when he picks this one up, he's going to drop off a backpack blower that hasn't run in 4 or 5 years. We'll have a look at that one too for him. Get her back in working order. The gasket for that bowl nut is still on the bowl, so just check that. The gas doesn't smell old at all. It smells actually like fresh new gas. So I think we're just going to run with that. There we go. Started. I think after this, it's just the oil's already full, so that's good. The tune-up is tuned up, so that's good. I think the last thing is just going to be a sharpen and balance the blade, and that's it for this one. Well, yeah, that adjustment on that kill wire is critical. I mean, it wasn't out much, but it was enough that the mower wouldn't shut off. Put our plate back on. This is a very similar plate to other Briggs & Strattons that have a primer bulb here. Some have the bulb and some don't. Same plate, just doesn't have a bulb. Primer bulb. Squisher. Now let me tell you, if it was a plate that had the bulb in there, they have a tendency to warp where they mount to the carburetor, and that is that gasket in between this and the carburetor body is critical for the primer to operate correctly. It's got to be right on the money, or else it just doesn't work right. Okay, that's all good. It's got a nice clean air filter. That's going to go back in. These are good mowers. Husqvarna. Pliers out of there. Ah, okay. I believe he said that it doesn't have many hours on it. Like it wasn't used very. Oh, let's get that dipstick tube in there. He said it wasn't used very much. It's not a new machine. It's a little bit older, but it wasn't used very much. So it doesn't surprise me that everything is in really, really good shape, other than a couple of little things that. I mean, that's impact damage, so you can't fault the machine for that. That's that. That's that. 3 bolts in the top of that. They are a shoulder bolt, 8mm or 5/16 socket. We'll take them out or put them in. I prefer to use an 8mm to take them out and a 5/16 to put them in. Just kidding. Okay. Oh, yep. Flywheel brake's doing its job. For sure. I'm going to leave that cord out so we can get this top cover in. Pull cord goes through the top cover. Top cover goes over the top. Pull the bail. Slowly pull the cord. And I'll get it hooked up into the cord holder at the top of the handles here. I don't know if you're actually seeing it on the camera or not, but I'm just putting it through the little loop at the top of the handle. Alright, let's back you out of there. No, you're not seeing it. Anyways, I just ran the cord up. Just ran the cord up to the handle through the little loop there. Yeah, so I'm going to see. They're a fine thread, and they go into plastic. There's only 2 of them. They're small little screws. So I'm going to put some wood screws in there, because I don't think I have the proper actual plastic thread screws. I'll just put a couple of wood screws in there. They don't have to be very long, maybe about 1 inch long or so. Get that cover secure. We'll drop it on the floor and fire it up and give her hell. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to pull the blade off and balance and sharpen it first. Or sharpen it first, then balance it, and then we'll carry on with what I said before. Well, there we go, guys. It's good to go now. So it wouldn't shut off because the little tab to shut it off was not oriented properly. This tab was turned 90 degrees to the right, clockwise. So it wasn't grounding when you release the handle. So now it is. Now it works. So that's that. This is a Briggs engine. There's our code number is 14, so it's a 2014 model. The first two digits of the code number on a Briggs engine gives you the year. But we changed oil, balance, sharpened the blade, changed the plug, checked the carburetor, and fixed the no stopping. It's not a no start problem, it was a no stop problem. So that's it. Just gonna wrap this one up. Thanks for joining me for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Click the bell icon to notify you when I upload new videos. Till the next one, take care.